Welcome back, everyone. Time to do another comparison between the brand newly released iPhone 12 mini and the somewhat older iPhone SE2. Now, both these phones came out this year. The iPhone 12 mini is the newer one. And what I can tell you is between both, there's a lot of pros, there's some cons, but for the price tags of both of these, I mean, the iPhone 12 mini is selling for $729, sorry. $729 for this device. The iPhone SE2 is selling for $399 in the brand new market, and I've seen a couple of these in the used market for a little bit cheaper. So I'll find the cheapest ones on Amazon, link them down in the description below. You can get them from there and help support the channel at the same time. Now, side by side, you can kind of get a glimpse that for sure the iPhone 12 mini and the iPhone SE2 are roughly around the same size, but the 12 mini is still actually smaller in pretty much every dimension than the iPhone SE2. But holding them both in the hand, I don't really think one feels way thinner, but I kind of like the way the 12 mini feels over the iPhone SE2. I don't know, something about it. I feel like it feels like a better heft in the size. I don't know. But on the front of the iPhone SE2, we have that 4.7-inch IPS panel, and I've been saying for a while now that I think it's an okay panel. It's definitely not the best panel in the world by any means, and for $399, I've seen phone manufacturers make better panels at that price tag, so I think it's totally okay for the most part for the time being, but I still think very, very soon, I mean, there's going to be a lot of people who don't really want to get a phone that has this type of, bezel around it, because the panel is not that bad, but the bezel around it is the problem, especially with that home button. Some people may still like it, but I feel like when you look at something like the iPhone 12 mini, it does look like the overall better device, as it should. It's a newer phone, I guess, technically newer design, and it's more expensive. It's like, not quite twice the price, but it's still pretty expensive. You have that 5.4-inch panel on this specific phone. It's that Super Retina XDR OLED panel, and it's 1080p, so higher resolution than the SE2, and it does look better, in my opinion, than the iPhone SE2. I mean, you can see very little bezel around the whole entire display. You have the notch, the new flat sides on this phone too, and overall this phone looks extremely good. And when you look at something like the SE2, it doesn't really look quite as good as something like the iPhone 12 mini, in my opinion. So in terms of the front, for sure the iPhone 12 mini, in terms of the thickness, you may be able to tell that, both of them have the same type of things, volume buttons and all that stuff. The iPhone SE2 does seem to be a little bit thinner than the iPhone 12 mini, and the iPhone SE2 was a very thin phone, had a very, not super small battery, but there are some cons with that thinness for sure. Dual camera setup on the back of the iPhone 12 mini, single camera setup on the iPhone SE2. Glass backs, pretty much the exact same texture, and these are both the white models of the phone, and you can see that the 12 mini is a little bit warmer than the iPhone SE2, which I don't really understand how that happened. And they both feel pretty much the same on the back. They both have, wireless charging. The iPhone 12 mini does have that MagSafe capability. So in terms of the outside, that really pretty much covers it up. IP certification, all that good stuff. In terms of the software though, they both are going to be roughly ending around the same time. The iPhone 12 mini is probably going to be lasting a year longer, but in iOS support, that's not really that big of a deal because both these phones are going to be supported for an extremely long amount of time with that A13 chip inside of the iPhone 12 SE2. You're going to be seeing you're probably getting around the same software experience, you just are getting that gesture-based design on the iPhone 12 mini, which really adds to the flavor of the device overall. So if the iPhone 12 mini ends in like 2026 or 2025, this iPhone SE2 will probably end in like 2024 or 2025, so very, very close to one another. So in terms of software, that pretty much covers it up. Let's go into a little bit of a speed comparison between them now. The iPhone 12 mini has that Apple A14 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 gigabytes of RAM, where the iPhone SE2 has that Apple A13 Bionic chip inside of it with 3 gigabytes of RAM. So let's go and see which one is the faster one between both of these. Okay, now that we're back, let me go ahead and clear out all the apps in the background and increase the brightness. So I think all the apps are clear on the background, as you can see. Let's start loading them up. Let's do phone calls, 3, 2, 1. And about the same on both. Safari, let's go and load up, google.com or something, or Apple, 3, 2, 1. And the 12 mini was actually faster there, which I'm surprised at. Usually this is a network issue or something like that. I'm not really too sure. But scrolling speed's probably going to be about the same on both as well. Let's do the App Store, 3, 2, 1. And the 12 mini was a little bit faster. The iPhone SE2 was a little bit slower. Scrolling speeds, though, I think they're roughly about the same too. Not a ginormous difference here either, which I think is a good thing. Both of them are roughly around the same in terms of the speed. I would assume so, but I'm not really too sure yet. Let's go and load up these third-party apps that I have on both devices. Let's do Fruit Ninja, 3, 2, 1. And there has been an update with Fruit Ninja recently that totally screws up the game on pretty much all my devices. As you can see, the 12 mini was faster. The iPhone SE2 a little bit behind for sure in that specific video. Facebook, 3, 2, 1. Did I say video? I meant to say game. As you can see, the iPhone 12 mini I think was the faster one there. Let's do Twitter, 3, 2, 1. And I think the 12 mini by far was the faster device for sure there. Let's go and do Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. And as you can see, the 12 mini is slightly ahead of the SE2 right now, and that's actually pretty interesting. And as you can see, the 12 mini was the faster one, the SE2 shortly behind it for sure. Let's go and get into some gameplay. And probably as expected, they're going to be roughly around the same. I don't think there's going to be that big of a difference between them. So let's go and hop out of here. Let's do BOFA. 3, 2. I don't have it here. Let's do Quizlet. 3, 2, 1. iPhone 12 mini faster. iPhone SE2 shortly behind. Dropbox. I don't have it either. I don't have any apps here. Netflix. 3, 2, 1. iPhone 12 mini was faster. SE2 shortly behind. Snake versus Blocks. 3, 2, 1. And 12 mini was faster. iPhone SE2 shortly behind. Getting into some gameplay. Let's see if there's a difference. And probably as expected, I don't think there's going to be that big of a difference between these two. But that one pretty much covers that one up. Let's do Thank You. 3, 2, 1. And the 12 mini was faster. iPhone SE2 shortly behind again. Not a ginormous difference. It's not like I would go and totally change my life because of it. But there's a subtle difference for sure. Let's do Stack. 3, 2, 1. And 12 mini was faster. iPhone SE2 going to be a little bit behind. I did accidentally click on the ad right there. Let's go and hop out of here. Let's do Instagram. 3, 2, 1. 12 mini faster. iPhone SE2 shortly behind. Paper IO 2, which I don't have here. Oh, I do. 3, 2, 1. And the 12 mini is faster as expected. iPhone SE2 shortly behind it. Getting into some gameplay. That's typically, as I saw before, I don't think there's going to be that big of a difference. They both look roughly around the same. Let's end it off with the Real Racing 3. 3, 2, 1. Hopefully we don't have to download it on the iPhone SE2. I did do a comparison, and I think we do, because usually when it does that, that typically means we have to download it on here. So we may have to just, let that one slide. I don't know. And the 12 mini is already loaded. So if the SE2 was the same speed, it would have already gotten in the downloading panel by now. So this is probably the best representation I can make of it if it doesn't get to the downloading panel. As you can see, that it didn't. So there was a really big difference in this specific game. That was really interesting. So if you're playing these heavier intensive games, you may see a bigger increase in speed on something like the iPhone 12 mini than on the iPhone SE2 for those bigger games. Now, getting into the RAM management portion, I don't know why the 12 mini restarted there. That was very weird. The SE2, like I said before, has a gig less of RAM. Let's go and do something else. Let's do App Store. 3, 2, 1. Okay, roughly about the same. To kind of sum up the speed comparison, I don't know if there's a huge difference between these two. I think for sure the iPhone 12 mini is faster. RAM management is very weird on both, for the SE2 at least. And I think when it comes down to it, I think maybe the SE2 is just a little bit slower overall. But honestly, if I had the SE2, I would not go for the 12 mini because of the speed. That is one area that I don't think I would go to. And RAM management seems to be better on the SE2 than on the iPhone 12 mini. I really don't understand that at all. As you can see, the 12 mini is restarting every single app. It really doesn't make any sense to me. So let's try it again. Let's do Temple Run 2. Yeah, I don't know what the 12 mini is going. I don't know what is wrong with this phone. That is a humongous problem that Apple needs to fix and address right now. I feel like the iPhone 11s last year also had this issue. The iPhone 12 mini has restarted every single app. So I have to go and make a separate video now talking about this, because that's a huge issue that Apple needs to address. And they both restarted here. So, I'll do a full speed comparison between these. But I think RAM management may be better on the SE2, but the performance may be better on the iPhone 12 mini. So that pretty much covers that up. Let's go and do a camera comparison. Now I'll do a full camera comparison very, very soon. The iPhone 12 mini has a dual 12 megapixel lens, a 12 megapixel wide, 12 megapixel ultra wide. The iPhone SE2 has a single 12 megapixel wide angle lens. The UIs are going to be roughly about the same. There's not a ginormous difference. The biggest difference I think will probably end up lying in the front camera. You can only do 1080p on the front camera of the iPhone SE2. You can do 4K at 60 on the front camera of the iPhone 12 mini. So that's a pretty big difference in my opinion. You have portrait mode on both and everything, which is fine. And I'll definitely probably tell you, with the iPhone SE2's camera, it's actually done a pretty decent job in my opinion for all the pictures and videos and photos that I took of it, and the initial camera comparisons, and even comparing to the 12 and 12 Pro. I pretty much saw that it was actually pretty decent overall. Of course, it's not the best camera in the world, and the biggest lacking feature of this is probably the back cameras, the single lens, but also, the front-facing camera at only 1080p, but it's still a pretty good camera. For the price tag, it's not bad. Now on the iPhone 12 mini, on the other hand, you are getting a better camera lens. You're getting that ultra-wide sensor as well, which is amazing. But on top of that, you're also getting a really good back camera. Technically, I guess there's more features in this camera because of that ultra-wide sensor, which is cool, as well as that front-facing 4K at 60 camera, which is huge. The iPhone SE2 is kind of lacking in that specific area. But for the rest of it, I'll be honest, the iPhone SE2's camera is actually pretty decent. I'll do a full camera comparison between these two, but I will probably still tell you that the iPhone 12 mini's camera is probably the better one, but I don't think it's better by by like 30,000 times. I think it's probably marginally better, if anything, maybe at least. So that really pretty much covers up the camera comparison. And that camera comparison was very quick, and I'll probably do a full one later on, like I said. Let's go and hit on the batteries. The iPhone SE2 has a much smaller battery than the iPhone 12 mini, and the iPhone SE2's battery life is probably its biggest, unsettling thing for me, in my opinion. The 12 mini does technically have a bigger battery life and a bigger battery size, so I'll go ahead and compare these into a full battery comparison at some point. But to kind of sum up this video and to answer the question, should you pick up the iPhone SE2? Should you pick up the iPhone 12 mini? I think there's a lot of pros and a few cons on both devices, but the one thing you have to keep in your mind is that the iPhone SE2 costs $399 and the iPhone 12 mini costs $729. So it's not like these two things are the same price or kind of close in price. The iPhone 12 mini is a much more expensive device. Because of that, you're getting kind of a better phone in some key areas. Now with the iPhone SE2, you're getting extremely good build quality, about the same thing as the iPhone 12 mini. It's just, the flat size on the 12 mini. You're getting a pretty good camera setup, pretty good performance. It's almost the same as the 12 mini, but RAM management was better on the iPhone SE2, which was very surprising. I was getting, the RAM to, apps to be loaded up in the background and not have to reload every time, which is huge. I don't know why the iPhone 12 mini kept doing that, but the SE2 was able to do it, and I wouldn't have thought so. I would have assumed that the 12 mini was the best performing one, but that's not necessarily the case. You're getting a home button design. Some people may prefer it. You're still getting IP certification, wireless charging, iOS support for a very long time, and for $399, it's really not that bad of a price, But when you look at the 12 mini, I think it overall is the better phone once Apple figures out the RAM management portion thing. I don't know what they screwed up there, but it's $729. It's more expensive than the SE2, but you're getting, a better designed phone. You're getting a smaller form factor. Some people may prefer that. You're getting a better camera setup, technically maybe better battery life, the MagSafe capability, flat sides, which is really cool. I think better IP certification than this phone, a better front-facing camera, a better looking display. I think I already said that. And it definitely will last you longer, and it's definitely a more current design than the iPhone SE2, but it really just depends. Do you like spending more money, or do you want to save more money? Like, if you have all the money in the world, then definitely get the 12 mini, but if you don't, but if you already have all the money in the world, I would recommend getting the iPhone 12 or 12 Pro. But with the iPhone SE2, it's definitely a good phone and it has a lot going for it too, and for $399, it really does make up for all the areas that it kind of sucks in, to be honest. But with the 12 mini, it's the better phone, so that's probably the best way I can kind of sum it up between these two. I think if you have the money, get the 12 mini. If you don't, the iPhone SE2 is a very, very close second place for sure. So that really pretty much covers it up. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that'll mean so much. But definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count. So it means so much if you guys could hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my other channels. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.